325. The bill seeks, among other things, to regulate all on-farm and off-farm activities in the coffee value chain. Since it was the first coffee bill, has debate from various, with some framers, of course, describing it as falls far short of sustain the coffee. One of the contentious articles of the bill is 26, which gives powers to the Uganda Coffee Development Authority to register all farmers. Although a lot has been said about the bill, there has also been some misinformation and factual errors in some publications, which the executive director of the Uganda Coffee Development Authority was meant to be here actually to align on all that. So just to start off today, we have been joined by, of course, the Right Honourable Lawrence Akunguziwe, the Honourable from Mwenge North. He happens to be one of those Vice Chairman on the Agriculture Committee. Good morning, Honourable.
Good morning.
Now, for starters, I need to understand, what do you make of this bill?
First of all, the bill seeks to give powers to UCDA to be able to promote and oversee all the activities of the coffee subsector and the whole value chain of coffee, so that we can regulate both the on-farm and off-farm activities of the subsector.
So you believe with the provisions and the few policies that have been actually dropped in there? Let me read you this, Cap. Clause 28, subsection 2 says, it provides a coffee farmer who will feel aggrieved by the decision of the UCDA of being deregistered may appeal to the minister to review the decision. So how many coffee farmers do we have in the nation, and the magnitude, all that falling on the minister?
Of course, currently we are meeting different stakeholders to get their views on the bill, and what we have is just a draft. And if we get the opinions of all stakeholders in the coffee value chain, we shall be able to rectify everything in that draft, and and things will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's been talk of registering. What do you really need to register all the coffee farmers in the country? Is there a need for it?
Yes, there is, because when we register the farmers, the coffee farmers in Uganda, we shall be able to trace where these farmers are, the acreage they have, and the type of coffee they have. Because you don't need to make calls in Kienjojo, in Gulu, and ask the district production officer how many farmers we have in that district. You just need to click somewhere or check somewhere, and then you'll be able to know that we have these farmers in this district and these farmers in the whole country. And also it helps us to characterize the farmers that we have. Those who have traditional coffee, which needs to be cut and rejuvenated. We also have to know which type of coffee is grown where, and we shall be able to trace. And of course, when we sell our coffee internationally, people are interested, buyers are interested in knowing where this coffee came from, which farm, from which farmer, which type, and it helps us really.
That seems like it's helping you, but where does it help the farmer?
The farm, of course, will be able to access most of the government programs because he's registered. The extension workers will be able to follow him up and give him the necessary advice wherever he is. But if he's not registered, it will be hard for the extension worker to reach out to that farmer to be able to give him the necessary advice.
So if I'm a farmer and I'm not registered, will you block me from selling my coffee as long as I'm actually within the standards?
The purpose of this bill, which is going to be enacted into a law, is to make sure that all farmers are brought on board to be able to sell their coffee both locally and internationally. The aim is not to block, but to characterize and organize the farmers into blocks that will be able to sell their coffee.
Doesn't it look like it's more of silencing the farmers? That if we are looking at a span of someone going a little bit monopolistic in a way, that if you're not registered under this umbrella of Coffee Farmers Association, you won't be in position to actually get this. Isn't it the kind of direction we are taking here? Then secondly, the timing. People have been doing this farm planting coffee for I don't know how many years. My great-grandfathers were actually into this. Why now?
You see, our coffee has been commanding good quality on the world market, but because this current law is not actually active on both on-farm and off-farm activities, right from the nursery up to harvesting and marketing, farmers have been doing it the way they want. But when we register them and organize them, we shall be able to have good quality coffee, which will command high prices on the world market, and therefore farmers will be fine. And you see, when we leave these farmers to do whatever they want, they will just pick green coffee, which is not ready and ripe, very young, with flowers, and then when that one is mixed with the ready, ripe coffee, and it is roasted and crushed and then packed into and blended into the final product, it will affect the quality on the world market. And if the quality is affected, then the price is affected.
Okay. Well, Honorable, I just need to understand what's the difference between registering a farmer and licensing a farmer.
Okay.
Because these are the two, points where many are actually going up in arms. Registering a farmer and licensing a farmer.
Actually, what I want to put clear is that the farmers will not be licensed. The farmers will just be organized and registered for traceability. But licensing will be for these other coffee actors within the coffee value chain, the exporters, the traders, the processors, so that we can be able to know how many processors we have, how many traders we have, and then when somebody is registered, if he's a processor or a trader who buys from the farmers, it is easier for government to be able to know who is buying this coffee from the farmers, so that the exploitation of the middlemen to the farmer is reduced.
You're talking about the exploitation of the middlemen?
Of the farmers by the middlemen.
We have the cooperatives. We had the cooperative week the other time, I think like 2 weeks ago, where many of them came up and said, if we had a cooperative union that could actually, put forward our plight, possibly some few things would be aligned. So is government still going to work with the cooperatives in a way, or we're still going to have the cooperatives on the law?
Of course, cooperatives like the Bugisu Cooperative Union and others are there. I think we need to work with them, but not entirely. To be able to have these farmers organized into groups that will be able to produce and market their coffee very well. Yeah.
The biggest discussion when it comes to coffee in this country, every single time you hear of a discussion regarding coffee, it's not about registering and licensing them and having them organized and in one group. The problem is the price of the coffee. It's being bought very cheap, and the end product is coming out very expensive. Is this going to address that? Because that's the biggest problem for the coffee farmers. It's not them being registered or being organized or knowing where they are.
Okay, like I said, the price of coffee is determined by the quality. Its quality. So if we organize them into good groups and organizations, we shall be able to work on the quality of their coffee, because we shall be able to make sure that they don't pick green and ripe and ready berries of coffee, but the ready ones. And if we work on the quality, then the issue of the price will be catered for. Yeah, so what is bringing the prices down is because the quality of our coffee has not been good, because the law has been silent, nobody has been caring about the quality, and therefore the price has been low.
Honorable, right there I heard in the bill there is also soil sampling, soil testing, where the coffee is going to be grown. Indulge me, maybe I'm not following a few things of what happens in our country. Is there a particular type of soil where particular kind of coffee grows?
Yes, of course, coffee does not grow everywhere, and we have Arabica, Robusta, and they require different soil characteristics. And by soil sampling and testing, we want to make sure that we are planting and growing coffee in the right soils. And of course, the soils will be tested at sub-county level, because government is planning to have soil testing kits at every sub-county.
Planning to have?
Yeah, in some places they are there, but in those places where they are not, government will put those kits so that soils can be tested, not only for coffee but for most of the crops, so that you know where to grow what. Otherwise you cannot just grow coffee in a waterlogged area. The clay soils cannot also support the coffee growing. So coffee requires well-drained soils that are fertile. So you cannot determine that that this soil is well-drained unless you have soil sampling and testing.
What are the implications of not following these new proposed, now it's a bill that will turn into law? What are the implications if, like Andrew highlighted before, if I am a coffee farmer and I have decided I don't want to register with these people, they want to steal my coffee?
The implications, of course, there will be some simple fines.
By simple you mean?
Of course, fines that will not deter the farmers from growing the coffee, because we are targeting having 20 million bags per year by 2025. And therefore, the fines and these other penalties that are going to be proposed in this bill will not deter farmers from growing coffee. They are not as hard as people think, but they will be simple. Just to make sure that farmers are guided and directed towards producing better quality coffee and with the necessary requirements for coffee, for good coffee.
Okay, Honorable, the last one from me. I just want to know, are there other less controversial ways of ensuring quality of coffee exports than the harsh measures prescribed in the bill? Can we get other,
Yes, that's why we are still getting views and opinions from the different coffee players in the whole country. We have so far met about 6 stakeholders.
Wow.
And they are giving in their inputs. And we shall continue engaging different stakeholders to be able to have a good bill that is pro-farmers, not affecting them, but it should be pro-farmers, so that we can have a lot of production and productivity of good coffee. And of course, being the second largest producer of coffee in Africa after Ethiopia, gives us all the zeal to be able to control our coffee subsector. Yeah.
Okay. You have talked about these 6 stakeholders. That's a small number. But have you talked to the farmers themselves? Because those are the people that need to have the knowledge of the proposed bill and the law that is being proposed here. Have you talked to them? Have you engaged them so that they understand? Because the biggest problem in this country is people sit on a round table in suits and ties and discuss things that are affecting the person down there. Yep. And they are the only thing they see is they see it wake up one morning and it's on the front pages and everyone on radio is making noise about it, and they end up confused because they never felt like they were engaged at any point.
Okay, the Minister of Agriculture presented this draft bill to the committee about 2-3 weeks ago, and therefore we have just met the 6 that I have told you, and we are going to meet every stakeholder. Those farmers, we shall meet them. We have so many we have identified in Eastern, here in the center, Western region, everywhere they grow coffee, we shall go there. Those who have plantations, those who have 1 acre or how many acres, we shall reach out to the farmers to be able to identify them.
Don't you think you're starting, that should be the starting point? Before you have a proposed bill, before you have any proposals on the table, that should be the first step. Come and talk to us, then you can come up with resolutions that you can propose. But you're doing it the other way. You already have a bill proposed and now you're going to talk to us. So you are not coming to us for proposals, you're coming to tell us what you have decided to do.
No, I'm sure the drafters of the bill, before they came up with this draft bill, met different stakeholders. And for us as Committee of Agriculture and as Parliament, we are also going to meet the different stakeholders. So before this bill was drafted, those who drafted it met different stakeholders, they got their opinion from them. And now for us as a committee, we shall also reach out to them, the farmers, the processors, the traders, those who are exporting, throughout the whole coffee value chain. We shall meet them. and we shall be able to have opinions and have a better bill that will help the coffee subsector to grow.
Wow. Well, there you have it. That is the Right Honorable Lawrence Akonguziwe from Mwenge North constituency. Have you engaged your farmers in your area about the coffee bill already?
Yeah, every weekend I'm in the constituency, and I have been talking to them about this bill. Yeah, they know, and I will continue.
What do you make of the local intelligence? Is it tense? Are they excited about it?
Of course, they are excited about it because they know that bad coffee, which is unripe, which is not ready, is not good, especially in commanding good prices on the market. So they are aware, and we shall continue engaging them and sensitization. And of course, sensitization is very important to the farmers and to all the key players in the coffee subsector. People need to be sensitized. They should not look at licensing and registration as a problem, but as a solution that will be able to help them to come up with better prices and better quality, so that you can benefit from this sector.
All right. Morning at 10 TV will continue shortly. Good morning.
Now that the performance of boys is going down and the girls are coming up,